very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for sparing your time on a Friday like this to listen to the money conversation. I come bearing greetings from the Mr. Headmaster Sir. He wasn't able to be here today, and I am proudly sitting in for him. So I'll kickstart with a presentation to show the numbers and why NSSF actually chose to spare time and speak to its members about financial literacy. So NSSF does financial literacy for three reasons. Number one is to reverse the current trend of statistics. That's a short-term span of the benefits that are paid out. NSSF did a survey once upon a time, and realized that members actually work hard, save with a fund, qualify for their benefits, and use the money in 2 years, which is quite sad because we spend almost 30 years, 20 years in the workplace, and you eat your retirement pot in just 2 years. So financial literacy is here to equip you to make sure that you actually don't make the same mistakes like the people that went on the journey before us. The other point is to build a financially aware citizenry. So we do this to help our members understand financially, understand the things about money as they're still in employment and as they're still in the age that actually makes money. We also do this to make sure that we, the people that have joined in today, understand the options that we have throughout our lifetime. So these are the numbers that actually make people around me or people at the fund a bit sad. I'll give clarity on the two numbers that speak to NSSF itself. Um, we all see the 17 trillion fund and we are all excited that yes, our savings actually make 17 trillion. But the sad part is only 6% of us that save with the fund actually own 50 million and above. So that means the people that hold the 17 trillion are actually the least number of people. And also, just for you to remember that yes, NSSF does actually pay out benefits, and on average each month we pay out above 100 billion Uganda shillings to qualifying members. Like yes, every day that we wake up alive, someone qualifies to actually pick their NSSF, and we pay out about 100 billion. So that's it about the numbers. Welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen. I'll dive into today's topic and why we are here today. My name is Anna Maria Sanyu. I work at the fund as a customer financial advisor. But aside from that, I'm a mother of two, Jeremiah and Malaika. I know this is kept, so one day they will hear their names. I'm a wife to one husband, Mr. Mtunji Stefan. And I love financial literacy. I love speaking about savings. If you're my friend and I have not told you about savings, then we need to rethink that friendship. Yes, so I did a little bit of reading and I found out that Uganda has a very young population. Like we all hear that. We all hear Uganda has a very young population. But to what end? Sadly, or nicely, we have 46% of Ugandans below the age of 14. 46% of Ugandans below the age of 14. So this makes this conversation today actually very, very paramount, because guess what? As me and you are tuned in today to learn about financial parenting, we have so many people that we can go back and actually help understand this topic today. So what is a parent, or what do you understand when you hear you're a parent? So some say a parent is your mother, is your father. But according to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, a parent is a person who brings up and cares for another, irrespective of biological ties. So you can be a parent even without being biological. Yeah? And parenting in itself goes beyond biological connection. It involves making decisions on behalf of the children. So as a parent, when we say you are a parent, we think you're going to set boundaries, you're going to instill discipline, you're going to you have the privilege and the responsibility to serve as a role model to a person that you're actually calling a child of yours. Yeah. So as we're doing this parenting thing, we tend to forget about the financial bit. I know there are so many shows that are talking about parenting and all, but here today we are here to talk about parenting, but mostly focus on the financial part of parenting. We all share a common dream as parents. We all have a dream and we all wish our children do better than us. They surpass our achievements and they do better. I keep joking that if I get a master's degree, I'll probably not get a PhD because I want my kids to get a PhD. Yeah, I want them to be better than who I am. So we want, when you give birth, when you look at your own child, the things that you wish for them and dream for them are beyond even what you've ever imagined in your lifetime. But as we are doing this, we are instilling spiritual grounds in them. We are talking to them about values. We are talking to them about all these things. We are taking them to the best schools and educating them. But are we preparing them for the life that actually comes? You see these days there are memes of people saying, I didn't think 30s will be like this. Eh? Like you see someone saying, what I expected when I move out of the house of my parents and what I'm actually going through. And you see a guy eating a maize when at their parents' home, they would probably throw it away or they will throw a tantrum that they're actually eating maize. Yeah. But are we as parents right now instilling the money conversation in our children? Yeah. So today we gather to hear and explore the financial sacrifices that parents make for their children, and we want to derive from all the experiences from this distinguished panel what they're going to share with us today. But I have a few questions that came in my mind, and question number one is: do our children truly understand the financial sacrifices that we make for them? Like when you wake up today and you're faced with a challenge and you make a financial sacrifice, do you ever think that your child, if they are faced with the same situation, they will actually make the same sacrifice? Or is it even right to make a financial sacrifice? Yeah. As parents, should we financially sacrifice for our children at all? Is it right? Does it show lack of preparation? Does it show not being financially literate or what? The panel today is going to demystify all this. Is financial sacrifice a form of financial illiteracy? Does a parent who doesn't sacrifice financially for their children, does that make you a bad parent? Yeah? Or do the wealthy parents ever actually make financial sacrifices? Should we as parents pride in making financial sacrifices for our children? Is it such a cool thing that we should walk around and say, I am sacrificing financially for my children to have a better life? Yeah. So, renowned author Barbara Katende, in her book The Money Cure, she emphasizes the importance of discussing finances even before the children start coming into the picture. So her point is start early, start talking about money even before the kids come into the picture. And as parents these days, we are trying with all these products around us, we are trying to actually prepare for our kids. We are trying to make preparations before the kids come, but have we prepared the kids enough for what we are preparing for them? Yeah, those are the things that we're going to discuss today, and those are the questions that we want to see the panel help us answer today as parents out there and as guardians and as whichever you actually looking after children. That's the thing we want to learn. How do we prepare our children to actually be better than us, not only in the things that we think we should prepare them for, but even in the states of mind of money? So today I have a very wonderful panel, very wonderful panel indeed. I know they come with a lot of experience. They come with a lot of, I don't want to call it years, but they come with too much experience and exposure to talk about parenting. They are all authorities in their own right. And to dive us into the conversation today, we have Ibrahim Gava. Gava is an economist. He holds a bachelor's in development economics and is currently pursuing his master's in economic policy. So he's a Land Fellow, yeah? Gava has worked with several institutions, but most recently he worked with the Uganda Insurers Association as a public relations and marketing development officer. Gava is also a photographer and a professional MC. Talk about a man with many talents. So together with this panel, they're going to discuss today, the topic today, Parenting Chronicles, tales of financial sacrifices, values, and lessons learned. I will not spend any more precious time because I know what they've prepared for us is very, very needed to our lives as parents and to our lives when it comes to money and how we use it and utilize it. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Thank you for joining us. And Gava, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Anne, for that lovely introduction. Once again, allow me to welcome you. Allow me mention that at one time, an American entrepreneur, businessman, and a renowned author known as Robert Kiyosaki once mentioned that the main reason people struggle financially is because they have spent years in school but learned nothing about money. The result is that people learn to work for money but never learn how to make money work for them. I wanted to begin with that quote because it's very, very important. The money conversation becomes very important for us because as we continue to grow, we continue to make a lot of money, but we also continue to make sure that our children thrive. As introduced, my name is Gava, and I have a panel of a gentleman and a lady that I want to introduce briefly, and definitely they will jump into the conversation to really tell us who they are and how they understand the topic. Allow me start with a lady on the other side. This afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, we have our viewers. We have a lady who grew up in a Christian-founded home and growing up in a home where farming was a lifestyle, but her DNA wanted more in a colorful life beyond just hoes and pangas. This was a motivation for her to work hard to join campus, where she graduated with a BA and a diploma in education. She is a mother and a retired teacher who introduced music, dance, and drama at Bweranyanje Girls. So if you are OGs of Bweranyanje, I think it's very important that you listen in. One of the things that she did at that time, the OGs of Bweranyanje will clearly know this, that at that time she introduced MDD, and she received national recognition for that contribution, where they won 3 years in a row. So that clearly mentions that she's done well in terms of introducing amazing ideas. This background clearly defines that she's grounded on the topic of discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, our viewers this afternoon, let's welcome Ruth to speak to us. Ruth, please greet our viewers and introduce yourself if there's anything I left out. And after that, I'll come to Stephen. Ruth, the microphone. You can, thank you.
Thank you very much. Almost everything was said, but I must add that I'm a grandmother. I have 28 grandchildren. And apart from farming, I'm still involved in education institutions. I serve the community. I continue serving in the church. I'm a very busy person. Yes.
Thank you very much, Ruth. Friends, as you can see, Ruth is, when you talk about a grandmother of 28 children, that's quite a number. But also, too, it is very, very important for you to note that she has 36 years of experience as a teacher, but also as a parent. And that's why when you talk about Parenting Chronicles, Ruth is a strong pillar in our conversation this afternoon. Our next speaker, because at NSSF gender is very, very important, we decided to blend it with male versus female. So we brought in another gentleman. And our next speaker, who is on stage this afternoon, was inspired by a story of the 24 American astronauts that made a trip to the moon between the 1968 and 1972. This grew his love to doing extraordinary things and his journey in ultimately becoming an engineer. From working at a cement factory in his vocation, he declared financial independence, where he started to pay off his bills right from senior six vacation. Our speaker is one that is passionate about nature, music. But when he talked about music, I'm not very particular if he loves to listen to it or to dance. Ladies and gentlemen, our viewers, please welcome Stephen. Stephen, please say hello to the people and introduce yourself furthermore.
Hello. Excuse me. Hello, viewers. I'm glad to be here. My name is Stephen Langa, and I'm a married man for the last almost 39 years, and we have 2 adult children. and we are the proud grandparents of 3 lovely grandchildren. I'm glad to be here today.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Ladies and gentlemen, our viewers this afternoon, the topic is about financial literacy, parenting chronicles, the tales of financial sacrifices, values, and lessons learned. We are speaking about money. Allow me to go back to Ruth to share with us about the topic, financial literacy. What is it about? Do you think it's very important for us to talk about it?
I think it's very important because life revolves around money. If you are to buy food, if you are to move from one place to another, if you are to educate your children, if you are to build yourself a house, money must be involved. So, all of us need to know about money, how to earn it, and then how to spend it. And the earlier we do that, the better. It's a crucial subject. That's what I think about it.
Ruth, you want to share with us deeply when you were growing up, when your parents were taking care of you. How was it like when you were growing up in terms of how you went to school, in terms of how you were surviving? How were you handling money? Are there values that your parents instilled in you? Did you grow up in a place that had a lot of money? Did you grow up in a humble background, like many call it? So people can understand deeply who Ruth is as we continue to speak about money today.
As I grew up, there wasn't a lot of money around, but we didn't care much because there was food at home, we had shelter, we had love, we had parents. We didn't care much about money. And we got on. Then the little we got, we were very careful to use and value. We could watch our parents sacrifice a lot to get a little to send us to school, village schools. Yeah.
All right. Now I'll go to Stephen. Stephen, you want to tell us about financial literacy, your understanding, and why you think it's very important for us to talk about the subject matter today.
Yes, money is a very, very important thing. And managing money is a skill. Actually, it is a life skill. You know, life skills are skills that you need to survive in this world. Yes, if you don't have life skills, you will not make it. And managing money and handling it is one of those crucial life skills. Mismanaging or not knowing how to manage money can actually be a very, very terrible thing. And also, not just managing, but also the attitude you have towards money is also very, very, very important. Because money, like the book of wisdom says, is the root of all evils. So while money is good, money should be a servant, but not a master. You know, I did electrical engineering, and in electrical engineering, we always safety comes first. And we say in electrical engineering that electricity is a bad master, but a very good servant. Yeah, so money is a good servant, should never be a master.
I wanted to add on and say,
Ruth.
really, money is not evil. Money is having
The
money
love
is not
of money.
exactly.
Yes.
It's the love of it.
Did I say money is evil?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
When you take
It's
it
the
to
love
extreme,
of money. It's the love
that's
of
when
money.
it's
Exactly,
bad.
the love of money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, money is
Oh, we
good.
all need money.
We
Yeah,
do,
all need
don't
money.
we?
But the love of it. If you love money more than people, you love money more than other things, then it's a problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ruth and Sunday. And now I want to proceed with a conversation about financial literacy. Borrowing the literature from Bank of Uganda, financial literacy is the knowledge, is having the knowledge, skills, and confidence to manage money well. Three things come out clearly there: knowledge, skills, and confidence. And all of it right in the remarks that Anne shared in the beginning of the webinar, we talked about how we wish the best for our children. And I want to now come to our panel this afternoon to sort of understand, what are we doing correct? The good thing is that all of us here are parents. The only difference is that me, I'm not yet at a level of grandparent, but all of us are parents. And now we want to understand, what are parents doing correctly? What are parents not doing correctly? The conversation of money in homes. Because we all agree that at one point in time, every home has had a piggy bank or eggy bank. depending on which one you want to subscribe to. But the journey of the eggy bank or piggy bank, the way you want to look at it, has started with dropping in a coin or two, and the parents continue to inculcate values of savings into their children. But as we continue the journey of savings, we have not seen it through the value chain of now to invest the money, because the value chain of understanding money and how to use it ultimately has to get into investment. But you find that on many occasions, the parents that have started with their piggy banks and given their children savings to save from their small monies, their pocket monies, they've continued to use these monies in their homes and save slowly. But over the years, you also find that through the weeks or 2 or month, they go back to the piggy bank and pick out the money and use it maybe on a home necessity, maybe to buy a matchbox, maybe to buy a candle. So you realize that the value chain throughout for saving has not been maintained to make sure that our children can understand money in its full cycle. I want to go to Ruth to tell us, what are parents doing correctly in your journey as you are raising your children now that you're a grandparent? What are some of those things that you did then that you want to improve now? And I want to share this cocktail of, so that you can share with us a blend of your understanding throughout this matter. What are parents doing correctly? What are they not doing correctly in terms of money when it comes to their children in parenting?
First of all, I think parents should really love the children and love them well and love them all, no discrimination. Give them the confidence. Give them an opportunity to look ahead. Give them knowledge to know that they can do better in life. They can be independent. They can plan their lives and move on. Love them and give them the confidence. Then model out life for them. Let them see you live the talk. Are you saving yourself? And can the children see you develop from your savings? Maybe parents would think it should not be the way. But a child must see what you're doing, must know that what you are doing is going to benefit you in the future, and keep discussing. I think we are not doing it correct. We don't discuss with our children. We don't talk with them. Not all of us do. We think they are too young to understand, or we think they don't matter. But these are very important people who are going to serve the nation tomorrow and be able to look after themselves. So why don't we discuss the issues that will concern their lives? So let them know about saving. Let them see you save and even develop from your savings. And then they will say, yeah, I think it's useful. Dad has saved this. He has given up this, kept the money, and now he's doing something better. So that they learn from you. Let's model out life. Let's move with them. Let us make them see what we are doing, appreciate it, and then we can be sure that in future they too will be maybe like us if we are not mismanaging our money.
Ruth, you talk about the journey of parents and seeing that their children are able to pick from them. And I agree that parents out there are saving. And certainly you'll find that, they have different systems through which they are saving. And there are some bad traits, some bad habits that probably affect the ability for parents to save or their children to be able to save. Do you want to share with us any of them that probably will affect their ability to save?
Oh yes, being wasteful. A child must know that these resources must be kept very well. So must treat them very nicely and treasure them and not waste them away. The most important resource is time. Some children like to waste, even parents waste away time doing work which is not beneficial, which is not productive. So let them know right from the start that you have to be a good custodian of the resources which have been entrusted to you. Let them look after their books, their clothes, their toys, and not mistreat them and throw them around because they cost money. Let a child know that they are useful and they need to be kept well so that they can last longer. Show the child that when she's without that toy, life is not going to be easy. Maybe she will treat the toy well. So there are other things that have to be looked into, like looking after resources very well.
Ruth, thank you very much. I think you share a very valid conversation. I know of a home where the parent has decided to create a model where the child only gets one toy at a time. And until that toy is maintained for a minimum of 1 month, that's when they can get a second toy. And I think that's very, very critical, because you find some homesteads where the children has made, the child probably, or the children in the home have a room that is full and plenty of toys. But what kind of values, what kind of lifestyle is it inculcating in them? It kind of puts them in a lifestyle where they feel like it's abundancy, and sometimes abundancy is not the true story. But you also hear of stories lately where children go to school and they have pocket money of 1,000,000 shillings. But a child who goes to school with a pocket money of 1,000,000 shillings, what more they are going to, what are they going to use that money for? And what kind of way are they going to start to understand how to hold money and appreciate it? And now when I talk about school, I think about Stephen. Stephen, you want to share with us? I know that in your daily life, as you work in your lifestyle, you have started a program that speaks to schools, that speaks to children, that speaks to students, but also gets parents involved in there. Are there conversations of money in the conversations that you take to schools and parents?
Yeah. Yes, there's conversation of money, but you, but money should not be looked at or handled in isolation. Money is part of life, part of all of life. And in parenting, if you want your children to really benefit from your parenting lessons and what you want to teach them, is you need to connect with the children. You need to have a relationship with them. It's not just enough to just be giving rules and throw instructions here and there. There is need to connect with your children emotionally, so that you can talk, you can have a conversation, you can show that you care, so that they understand. Because it is said that children don't care how much you know, they want to know how much you care. When you care, then you earn in their hearts, you earn the ability to tell them things, and they listen. Otherwise, if you just give instructions and they're just doing this and doing the other, but the child does not perceive that you are actually connecting with them, then they'll put a roadblock inside them. They'll just pretend to be listening or just be there in the body, but they are not with you. And at the earliest opportunity to get away from your authority or from your whatever, they'll just do their own thing. So in parenting, just like for us in marriage, communication is a very, very important thing. And we say in marriage that if your communication is dead, then your marriage is dead. Yeah, because communication is like the lifeblood of a body. Yes, if body, the blood is not flowing, that body is dead. So similarly, your connectedness with your children, if that connectedness is not there, your parenting is dead. No matter how much instructions you are giving, no matter whatever you are giving, your parent is dead. So that connection is the first thing I want to say to parents and to the students as well.
Yes.
There's somebody who told me that research was done somewhere in Western Uganda several years ago, and they were asking young people who now had become adults that your parents were telling you certain things and you are not following. But now as adults, you realize that they were telling you the truth. What is it? Why is it that you are not listening? And they said, the way our parents were talking to us. Yes. So the way you handle, and that's part of communication, the way you handle, and like us in Africa here, we have a way of ridiculing children and belittling them and, doing all those kinds of things to try and teach them things. Now, when you do that, the child will remember the nasty things that you did, not the lesson you're trying to teach, but the nasty thing. So that's the foundation. Once you have that foundation, then now it is possible for you to teach your children whatever it is that you want them to learn. The good attitude towards money, discipline in handling money, knowing that money has value. It's not picked on trees. Yes, you work for it. Yeah, all those are things that now can follow after you establish that relationship.
Stephen, thank you very much. You introduced the parenting lifestyle, the conversation on how parents out there should continue parenting. And on many occasions recently when we were celebrating, I think, Mother's Day, one of the companies pulled out an advert that had a sando, and that sando is a mode that is used to parent in Uganda or in Africa, where if your parent is telling you to do certain things and you're not doing them appropriately, the sando either finds you on the way or you find it on the way, and then you can enjoy the music. Stephen, talking about lifestyle, how should parents handle their children when it comes to the money conversation? Should they use a model that speaks to Sanders? I used to remember my mother used to pinch my ears and pull them so hard that they would start to pain. They would get hot. Is that a parenting lifestyle that is good enough to make sure that you model the child into understanding money? Or should the parenting lifestyle move away from that kind of model to get an approach where where children can be able to be spoken to so that they can understand the journey of money and how to hold the money?
Now, just as our fingerprints are different, every child is different. From the same mother, from the same father, every child is an individual. And as a responsible parent, you need to know each child and parent them according to their need. There are others who just a word, a rebuke is enough. There are others who that is not enough. You need to do something more. There are others you may need to withdraw privileges and all that kind of stuff. So there's no one do it all or one fit all, because we are all individuals. And that, for that matter, it is also very bad for parents to compare their children. Oh, you're not like your brother. Oh, you're not like your sister. You know, they are doing this. Why can't you? They are not their brother. They are not their sister. They are individuals. So each child should actually be treated in their own right, according to who they are, according to their temperament, according to their character, according to the way they listen. Then you know how to apply. And that's why it is important for you as a parent to see that you relate with each child. And to recommend that it's not, apart from these things which are done generally, you know, we all have a meal as a family, you know, and there we are talking with everyone around the table. That is okay. Beyond that, there is need for each individual time with each child, one-on-one, with the mommy and with the daddy. So that's when you will know, this one, I think a rebuke is enough. Or this one may be a small spank, or maybe, you know, whatever. So there's no one fits all, and that's why as a parent, you need to be there and you need to do the needful. You know, that take the bull by the horn. Yes. You see, many parents today are hands off, you know, hands off. They are doing delegated parenting. I want to say that delegating parenting is not proper, is not good, because nobody will love your child the way you yourself love them. And besides, they have many questions. Yeah, you need to be there to answer those questions. Otherwise, somebody else will be answering them using different values, using different means, and you have no control over that. And yet parenting is something that is the responsibility of the parents. Yes.
I wanted to
Ruth, you
say-
want to?
I'm always forgetting. You can teach the children not only through talking but by working. When you are teaching the values of work and you are taking them out and giving them a piece of work, then you teach them that work is pleasurable, that you can enjoy work, you can, and when you work, you can eat like a king, you make them a good meal. I tell you, that's a very big lesson. They've been in the garden working, or wherever they've been working, and now you are rewarding them with a good meal. Because they've worked, they've earned. So you prepare them a good meal. When you work, you eat like a king. And you can afford comfort. So you tell them, now you relax, watch a film, you know. You enjoy comfort, you enjoy luxury, but you have first worked. And then you tell them, if you don't work hard, then you will ever be poor, and you go begging, you will irritate others by begging money, asking for this and this. But when you work, then you earn money and you are able to do what you want. So let them learn by doing, and then they see the benefits. When they work, they earn money, and then they see the benefits of work.
I want to add also that for my colleague that it said that 80% of what children learn, they learn by observation. Yeah. So they are watching you, what you do, your attitude, and all that. All those are lessons going in, lessons are going in, lessons are going in. So what my colleague is saying about working is a very, very, very important thing. You want your children to work, you work hard. Then they will see mommy works hard, daddy works hard, So they will pick it up. So that is very, very important, that being an example is a very, very good thing. Otherwise, if you are giving a different example and you are saying something else, in fact, they say toddlers or little ones do what you say, but teenagers do what you do. Yes. So you may be saying this, but you are doing the other, they will follow what you do. More like.
Stephen, you want to tell me that line again? I find it very interesting. You're saying that toddlers do what?
Toddlers do what you say. Get out, stop this. They will do that. But teenagers
Do?
what you do.
Okay, thank you very much. I want to go to Ruth. Ruth, I know that in your background as a teacher, you want to share a story. On many occasions, as parents, once we pay school fees, we think that all is done. Now, once our children come to school, should we think that the money conversation somewhere somehow, maybe in commerce, or somewhere somehow, maybe in entrepreneurship, somewhere somehow in math, the money conversation is likely to appear? Should we just now continue sleeping, or should we continue enjoying our lives thinking that the money conversation is sorted? Are there models in school where schools now have started the conversation of money? Was it there back then or not yet? So I want to start with the conversation of, should parents relax now that children have been paid for school fees? They should not talk about money conversations, or should it be a two-way conversation? Once they move from the schools, they come home, the money conversation should continue still in their homes.
A lot of what a child learns comes from home, comes from the parent. He sees, he hears, he appreciates. So the parent should not miss this important subject, as we earlier noted that he needs to teach financial literacy as early as possible. I remember when I was active in teaching, we suggested that Ministry of Education should put down financial literacy as an important subject and teach it throughout, from primary to university. I don't know whether that curriculum has come up, but in addition to what they learn from school, the parent should do his best, should start teaching how to use money, how to not use only, but earn, how to earn it first and then be able to use it. This important and famous funnel, there has to be many ways of earning money, not even one way. And then when you are spending it, you have to be very careful. You watch how they use their pocket money. You budget, they should draw a budget, and then go according to the budget, and when they come home, they should give accountability to the parent. And you can actually see, I remember at my time, I didn't expect more money from home, so I used my pocket money carefully throughout the term, and to save transport and a bar of soap for my mother. And I thought I was doing very well. So you teach the children on budgeting, even their pocket money. Let's give this financial literacy right at home and not depend on schools only.
Thank you very much. I want to come on that very point, Stephen. Stephen, I know that now you're interacting with parents. And what Ruth talks about is very, very critical. That now in the parenting models that you're speaking to parents in terms of parenting lifestyle, because I know that in your work you've also created programs that speaks to parents. Is it something that is critical to mention to parents about financial literacy? Have you already started the conversation? Do you have some of the examples that you want to share? Because now one of the live examples we know is the piggy bank. Every home has one. But does it speak to the values of understanding money to its full cycle?
Yes, well, this is a topic that we talk to parents, just as we talk to them about other subjects as well. Yes, we do. And one of the things we tell them is that children need to understand the value of money. And they need to start from the time they are little. that little piggy bank that they're saving. You go to the supermarket and they want to pick this, want to pick the other, want to pick the other, and so on. But you need to let them know that, okay, I'm buying the things for the home, but you save your own money. You want a sweet, you want this other gadget or toy, save for yourself. And that's when they realize that, oh, I already bought sweets and the money is finished. I don't have any more. So you see, now the money is finished, and so you have to save again. So there you are inculcating the discipline of saving, so that they draw the connection between saving and being able to afford things. Yeah, so that's something that you do. The other thing that we did in our home is we rewarded initiative. There was work which everybody did, or every child did. Then we decided for them to get the understanding that you can earn from working. We decided that if you do something which you are not asked to do as an initiative, we will pay for that. And I tell you that, people went, dirty places, the ventilator which are not cleaned. Somebody went, oh, I've cleaned the ventilator. Good. So there you are teaching initiative and also rewarding it. Yes. And I remember, some friends of ours and relatives had what they did. They said, oh, you don't pay children for work, and that kind of stuff. But you see, we knew what we were doing. We were teaching the value of money and the value of work and the value of saving. Yes, and for us, that was a way. So as a parent, you need to know what it is that you want to teach, and then use all kinds of methods, because we are, we are innovative. We are adults. We are clever. We are intelligent beings. So you use any means that you see at your disposal to pass a message. Yes, to pass a message. Be innovative. Be creative about it. So for us, that was something that we did, and it really worked out for us. And talking about budget and so on, yes, we also learned, and this is something I learned from my father. Our father would give us a certain amount of money for the term. Of course, we would spend it quickly, and it's finished. Then we begin writing at home. Oh, send us, I don't have this, I don't have the other. Our father, I gave you money for the term. Then you go to mother, what have you, all those things. But what I learned from there is I got used to living without money in the pocket. Yes. And we were also encouraged, since I was in a boarding school in secondary, eat school food. Eat school food. Nobody has ever died eating beans and posho. You see, there's not this thing where now, children are given so much money, then, they buy this. A lot of luxuries, really, which let them learn to eat school food. The school knows that, this diet or this food is going to keep the children alive. So they need to be encouraged to also eat that food. You see, that's part of discipline. In life, you won't always have what you want. That's not real. Sometimes it may be there, sometimes it may not be there, but you have to move on with the life. So at this time now, you're in school, you're supposed to eat the food there. Eat it. Yeah, so that you don't need so much money. So that really helped us. And then for us also, we did the same thing with our children. We would give a monthly. For school, we would give a monthly because it was monthly visits. We did that monthly, and it worked very well. If you blew your money in the first week, that's up to you. But if you are asking more, then we will take it from it will be like an advance. So that way, our children learned to budget, to handle money, and things like that. So just be innovative about as long as you know what you want to teach.
Thank you very much. I think that comes out very clearly. Be innovative and have a reward system. And I think the reward system is very, very important. On many occasions, parents just say thank you, but I think the reward system just has to go beyond the word thank you for students, for children to be able to appreciate the relevancy of the topics that we talk about. I want to go to Ruth. Ruth, earlier in your remarks, you talked about wastage. And of course, it comes out now also in Stephen's conversation in terms of wastage and trying to be able to handle resources. On many occasions, while we're still in school, you'd find that the shoes that we used to attend class, some of the students used to play football with them. And on the other occasion, you would find that one of them is you losing maybe the key to their suitcase. And so at the end of the day, they will bang the padlock to, make sure that they open. Sometimes they'll lose uniforms. Sometimes they'll lose books. This speaks to a bit of waste. Does it affect ultimately the savings mechanism or spirit that children need to have? I wanted you to just sort of give us a narrative on how that affects savings and ultimately affects the understanding of the child to be able to appreciate how to utilize resources.
Thank you very much. All along, you are with the child. You are planning together. You are spending together. You are interacting together. So if he comes out with wastage, you face it. You tell the child to face it. Instead of having these resources taking you for long and you gain this or the other, now you have nothing. And you are going to spend the rest of the term without. So that they learn to plan carefully and keep their resources very well. Instead of buying more books, you could have used that money to buy him another shoe. You keep explaining. As I said earlier, parents have to model out life, show real examples. That's when a child will appreciate. Resources are money. Time is money. That shoe you are mistreating is money. And if you lose it, then instead of achieving what was next on your list, you are going to forfeit it, because the parent is going to dish out more money for that shoe which you didn't look after very well. So the parent has to be more intentional. But I wanted to add on, one of the things parents should do is to encourage their children to read financial literature. We buy all sorts of books. Why don't we also buy them financial literature, books that talk about financial matters? Yes, it's very, very important, because these days you are either informed or you are left behind. So they have to read, they have to be educated. And then they should also encourage the children to listen to older people, more successful people, role models. Listen to them. If I tell you I messed here, then you take the point seriously. You make sure you too don't follow suit. You be more careful with the resources, and you don't turn out the way I turned out, because some of these stories are really with tears, when they wasted their lives, when they wasted the resources, when they wasted. But and when you share that experience with the child, and children should listen and take note, and also watch out their lives and make sure they don't mess them around.
There's something I wanted to add on what my colleague has said. Natural consequences. You see, that is part of parenting that is very, very needed. If you play with your toy, you are told, put your toy back inside after playing with it. You leave it outside and it is stolen. What a lot of parents today do is they go and buy another one. Now that you are not helping children. When children get into trouble, then immediately you come and you patch up, you give excuses for them. That is not, they are not learning anything. Life has consequences. They need to know that if they left their toy outside and it was stolen, then they will do without it. Okay, you see, you left the toy, it was stolen, or you wasted something. Now we can't have chicken or whatever. Maybe you wasted the money for the week. So now we can't. So another, the issue of natural consequences is a very, very big lesson teacher. Parents need to allow children to face the consequences of the wrong decision that they've done, so that they learn from it, because that's what parenting is all about. Is to learn from our mistakes and things like that. But if we don't allow children to learn from their mistakes, then we are breeding very, very irresponsible citizens who will not be able to survive in this world. Because in this world, there are consequences. Yeah, there are consequences. So they need to learn that.
Thank you very much, Ruth and Langa for the talk that you have shared right there. And we come out clearly on finances and how to handle money. I want us to go back a bit on our on our theme: tales of financial sacrifices, values, and lesson learned. And earlier Anne talked about sacrifices that parents have made. And I want to leave sacrifices because I know parents out there every day continue to sacrifice. In your regime, in our regime, they continue to sacrifice. I want to talk about values. Ruth and Langa, I wanted you to tell me about and share with our viewers when it comes to values. What are some of those key values that you think will create a foundation for the child as they continue to grow and create the narrative of understanding money, and as they continue to grow, it models them into individuals that fully understand the money conversation? I will start with Ruth, because I know that she has experience in that space as a teacher and also as a parent.
I talked about love. As you love the children, you expect them to love you and love their siblings and the people around them. It's one of the most important values. And love encompasses even other people. In your home, there are other less privileged people whom you care for, whom you help. Children also have to learn to help other people, to share their resources with other people. Then integrity. Can they keep what they were entrusted with? You have to teach integrity. We talked about hard work. They have to work. They have to work and not waste away time, because time is money. And to be able to gather money in the pocket and then you are able to be able to spend it on what you want, it takes a lot of hard work. It is not something you earn overnight. It takes a lot of time. So they should value those resources of time and hard work, and then they'll be able to forge on. Then stewardship. I talked about it briefly. They have to be able to value what they have and keep it well and be answerable as they invest. Even we have to teach them little investment, by the way. We don't need to think that these small investments, like having a few chickens around the house, or goats or cows, that it's a bad idea. You are facilitating what you will fall back to. The children can sell off those chickens and buy whatever they want, can sell off the goat with the permission of the parent and be able to buy what they need. Or that cow, by the time they finish school, the cow has multiplied. So the children need to have good stewardship, look after the resources, and be able to make them multiply so that they can be financially stable in future.
Thank you. Stephen?
Yes, I want to first of all begin with every child to be helped to understand their value, who they are and their value. You know, we relate with the world from the platform of who we are. So understanding who we are and our value is very, very important. You see, the world judges us or values us in three areas. Values us whether you are pretty or not. Values us whether you are rich or poor. Values us whether you are clever or not. You see? Now, a child may not have the looks, a child may not have the money, and a child may not have the IQ. So what does it mean to that child? Now, these are really fake parameters, but it's what we use. Oh, you see what they have. Oh, you see the house they have, and all that. We need to help our children understand that the value of a person is out of the content of their character, of who they are. That internal wealth, that is who a person is. Not what this, these are certain. Because if a child doesn't know that, even an adult, if they don't know that, then you will be busy working on these three things. Do I have, my IQ, is whatever. Now, some of these things, for a child, they have no control over. They have no control over. So the first is to help a child know that you are valuable as you are, as a child, as a person, as a human being. Very, very, very important. Then the second thing that we need to help our children know is that relationships are the most important thing in life. Not money, not position, not possession. Relationships are the most important thing in life. In our parenting course, there's an exercise we do with people. We ask them, suppose you have 50 more years to live. Write down 3 things you would want to accomplish and achieve. And people write down, I want to build a mansion, I want a big business, and what, ranches. Then, make a list 2. Write down 3 things you want to do or to accomplish if only had 3 more months to live. And be realistic. Don't say, I want to travel around the world. You don't even have a passport. Be realistic. Yes. Under your circumstances now, what would you want to do? And I tell you, when you compare the list of 50 years and the list of 3 months, it's very sobering. Very, very sobering. Here, I want to spend more time with my children. I want to spend more time with my husband. I want to pay my debts. I want to get saved. I want to, these are what you see in 3 months. Yeah. And then we tell people that, okay, the one of mansions and what and all this, or this one. And at first, because as Ugandans, we love things and so on. For some people, you see, if you don't have an investment, if you don't have, then the question comes eventually. Suppose you're on your deathbed. Which list is more important? This one with the ranches, with the title deeds, or this one with relationships? And that's when people wake up and realize, oh my God, relationships are actually the most important thing in life. Because when you are dying, the ranch is not there. So these, and then we tell people, when you prioritize this relationship, you will handle the things very well. But when you prioritize this and ignore this, you live a very miserable life. Yes, you'll have all the money, you'll have all the whatever, but life is meaningless. Life is meaningless. This is where the meaning of life. So those are things that children need to know, because many of us have the priorities upside down. Priorities upside down. And when priorities are upside down, we see what we are seeing in our country today, where what is not important is taken as the very, very important thing, and what is so important is looked at as a small thing. So these are things that children need to be held, so that we bring out balanced human beings. And another then value on money. We need to train children that the path to wealth is through saving, investment. That's where wealth comes from. Otherwise, in Uganda today, from what children are observing, as I told you, they observe, the way to wealth is steal in Uganda. We don't say it, nobody will, but the children are watching. They're seeing the only way, steal. So we need to show them that, look, the way is invest. No matter how little, rather save first. Save first. Save. And then after you save, you invest what you have saved. That's the path to wealth. And that's the path, the right way. So those are things that our children need to be helped to.
I wanted to add on this fact of relationships,
Yes.
I wanted to add on and say we need to teach some kind of networking.
Yes.
A child must know that it's these parents, it's these siblings, it's these friends, it's these neighbors who can help you along in future. Let them learn some kind of networking. If a child is planning like to put up a rabbit house, really can go to an auntie who can offer some rabbits to start with, and the auntie will do it with love, and the child would be better off with the project. So let's teach some networking. We need each other to pull along. Then on the issue of relationship, I would advise parents to work with the children, to assign them with responsibilities. When my children finish senior 4, I would appoint them as farm manager. Go to the village and manage the farm. Give him responsibility. Let him look after himself. Let him learn some independence and to take decision and then report back to me. And I would do it because they were my children. That relationship, and the child knows he is answerable to me. And it really helped. Even when I saved up a bit of money, and I would tell them I was saving for a house in Kampala. Then when my firstborn was at the university, I would say, go and supervise this little money. Go and build on that plot. If the shelter is up to wall plate, then we shall halt. You go back to school. I also go back to work. Then when I save more money, we build it up to the roofing level, and so on. But the boy grew very responsible. He knew he was the eldest and had to help me. By the way, I forgot to tell people that I'm a widow. But all these years, I managed to raise the children because we worked as a team. And I would tell them how I was earning the money, and they were partners. And then I would give them responsibilities. They would help me to supervise it, and the family would go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And those are values that we're talking about, our viewers, this afternoon. And the question is, what kind of values are you instilling in your child out there as they continue to understand the money conversation? I wanted to proceed with the discussion, and I wanted to ask, when you talk about responsibility, Ruth, when you talk about responsibility, should parents give out loans to their children? Is it a way to also groom them into understanding how to hold money? Because today when you go to banks, they'll give you numbers of people who have failed to pay back. But also when you go to children and they go to school for one reason or the other, they will outspend their pocket money and they'll call you back and say, Mommy, the pocket money is over, the grab is over. Is it a model that you think that parents need to also start with their children, to give them soft loans and tell them that this is your loan portfolio, and if you're not paying back, this is what is going to happen? Because you talked about responsibility, and you also mentioned that in your remarks that you noticed that your children, through responsibilities that you gave them to on their farms, they were able to grow, and you'd see them understand the relevancy of taking up certain challenges. So should it be an area that parents can focus on, that if your child spends money beyond what you have given them, then you get into a space where you have to give them a loan and they have to pay back?
Maybe Stephen would
Yes, I
Stephen
think.
would give
Yes,
an,
I
okay.
think. Yeah, I think for us, that's what we used.
Yes.
Yes. If you blew your money, then we give you as a loan pegged to what you are going to earn in future. So yes, a parent can use it. Yes, to teach that discipline. That once I get this, that is it. Yeah, because you see, we need to help our children learn that when we say something, we mean it. You know, we would go to places with our children, and they would just tell them, okay, you go do this, and our children do. And parents wonder, how did you train your children? Because people, parents, they say, then they threaten, then they whatever, and then they raise their voices. That's when the child does something. But you see, that's not good, because it means that the child soon learns that the first time you give an instruction, you are not serious. Yeah. So they wait until you are really serious. That's when they will do whatever it is. And so when you say that, okay, we shall be giving you this on a monthly basis, then mean it. Mean it. If they blow it, of course, if an accident happens or so yeah, you're sensitive to that. But if it is just carelessness, then you need to enforce the law or the rule. You got to enforce it, because that's one of the ways to actually help bring up a responsible person. Uganda today, we have a very big problem of lawlessness. Traffic lights, people just, they say this, they do the opposite. Why is that? Because we don't, we've not lacked authority from home. We have not lacked authority. And but the reason for that also is because we have a lot of fatherlessness. Yes. We have many fathers around, but we are, as a nation, we are fatherless. And you see, it is fathers who instill discipline and instill the sense that there is law here, there is authority, you need to be respected. When they tell you to do something, you do it. So if you don't honor that, then you are just increasing lawlessness, which means that you say something, but it's not really serious. So you need to enforce. And don't put a law or a rule, rather, if you are not willing to enforce it. And don't make a threat if you are not willing to follow through if it is violated. Yeah. You see, children function well with boundaries when they know, as long as I'm within here, I'm safe. They don't have this erratic thing where it's not clear, when you're in a bad mood, then, you just sit them around, or when something has gone wrong, then they can't predict. No. Be a kind of person where the rules are clear, are well communicated, and people know what the boundaries are. And they know that when they are within the boundaries, they are safe. When they infringe on the boundary, then something happens. So that is part of that thing of putting a rule and making sure that you enforce it, rather than make a rule and it's just a laughing stock. That is what breeds lawlessness, where you just go and your boss will tell you this, you just think you'll be lawless. You will be fired. Yeah, you'll be fired. But that comes from home.
Enforcement.
Yes.
Ruth, you want to add something?
Yes, I think it's a very good idea to loan some money to children, so that they know it's not their money, but they are to work it, they are to use it, multiply it, and be able to pay back. And this makes them it should make them responsible. How do you take a loan and you use it on other things? Use it on that particular item you asked the loan for, and work on it very well, like rabbit keeping. I'm talking of children, or livestock farming. Put it on that very area and work on it, feed the animals very well, and they will give you the profit, and then you will get the money and pay back. So I think it can make the children be responsible and know that the money is not theirs and they are to pay it back and respect it, and not just use it on other things, but the very thing for which they borrowed it for.
Thank you very much. We are discussing money, and we are saying that how should our children hold money, and what is the money conversation with your children in your homes. Ruth and Stephen, I want to share with you a small story. When one of my friends, just about last year, told me that their parents passed on, and they had left them property, and they were about 4 or 5 children, and after the parents passing on, part of the property was allocated, of course, to them, for everyone to have their share of the property, so that they can generate revenues in terms of creating a lifestyle. Now, one of the siblings of the 5 children later sold off the property. Part of their share was sold off. So assuming there were maybe 10 units of rented houses, maybe each one of them had maybe 1 or 2, the property was later sold off. Today, every parent, when you ask them the question, the conversation, they say, I am working for my parents. I'm working for my children, sorry. For every young parent out there, even if they are old, every day the conversation is, I am waking up to work for my children. And so I want to ask, should parents out there sacrifice to create inheritance for their children, or just merely educate them?
I want to say that while you are working for the inheritance of your children, working for the future, you need to be mindful of the now and the present. Because the scenario that is most rampant is a scenario where the parent is so busy working for the future of the children to establish all those properties and units and so on, but is not relating with the child now. And unfortunately, when the time comes for them to pass on, this property is available to the children, but the children have not been given the wisdom on how to handle those things. I mean, I know of cases also where, a gentleman really was really rich, those days of coffee and so on and so forth, but he did not really parent the children properly. So when he passed on, before his body could even rot properly, the children had sold off all the things, and just taken off. So the most important, we should give priority to first of all giving our children wisdom and parenting them in the now while you're working on the future as well. In other words, let this issue of working for their future not take you so much that you're so absorbed there that you are ignoring passing on those messages and those lessons that they need to learn now. So you need both.
I also think both are very, very important, because even you as a parent, it gives you meaning to your life, and inheritance shows you had love for your children and so on. But when you are raising the children, make sure they are responsible. Make sure that they are even independent. There is a man who recently chased out 3 graduates out of his house. I educated you, I gave you everything. Go and make your own money. Go and build your own houses. Go. They cried, they hated his dad, but they have turned out to be very prosperous. They suffered a little bit, but they developed stamina and did business and did work and looked for jobs, because suddenly they realized they don't have to depend on their parent. And a parent I like this parent who went to court and said, this property is mine. It's not for the children. Huh? Let the children work for theirs. If eventually a parent chooses to give them inheritance, that is his choice. And the children should know that that is additional luck, additional property, additional money. But they should have made their own. Make it very clear to them, this property is yours and your wife and your children while they need to be looked after. But if they've grown, let them go and make their own money.
I totally agree with that, because as a parent, you need to help your children know that they need to make their own. In our family, our father, left, a lot of land and all that kind of stuff. But he gave us education. And I'm privileged to be the heir. And when our father passed on in 1994, I told all my siblings that, my siblings, and by the way, when our father passed on, apart from those who are still home, the little young ones, all of us who had grown up, we were independent, and none of us was earning from father's property. So I told everyone, let nobody look at what our parents have left. No. You survive. You are educated, so this will just come, like she said, just as a bonus. Additional. Yes, additional. But let nobody be there waiting to survive on this. No. You are educated, so that is the way to go. Yeah.
Stephen, you in your bio when we were interacting earlier, I noticed that right from your S6 vacation,
yes,
you started to work.
Right.
And you started to pay your own bills.
Yes.
Children today go up to campus and also finish campus, and they still survive on their parents. What kind of mentality did you have? What kind of values did your parents instill in you, so that by the time you leave S6 in vacation, you had that kind of approach to say that this is my time to start taking care of myself?
The first thing, as I mentioned earlier, was my father did not give us. He could have. I mean, he was doing well. He could have lavished us with a lot of money. But he only gave us what we needed. And we would cry and we would do whatever. Give them. So that developed the ability to live with very little money. Very little money. And that is a plus. That is a big, 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 big plus. Because most people, are just lavish, and that lavish lifestyle is not good for developing wealth. Because in developing wealth, you need, that ability to be thrift. So that helped me. That was the first thing. Then, because I'm the first boy, and they would tell me, okay, the rest are looking at you and all that. So I realized, okay, there are still others who are still younger than me who need Muzee's money. So since I got a job in S6, in a cement factory, so I earned a little money. Then I realized, well, I can relieve Muzee of myself. And indeed, that's what I did. So even the money that I used to go to Nairobi University, that took me to the bus that took me there, was my own money. And then fortunately, when I got to university, I got a scholarship. I got a scholarship where I could have gone to any university in Africa, but they chose for me, since I was doing engineering, they chose for me to do my engineering in Nairobi. So because of that, I was earning a boom. I was getting some boom. Now, of course, I saw what some of my friends were doing. Some of my friends who were in a similar thing were drinking, university life, and and all that. I was thrift. I was actually, running my affairs. I was even able, as a student, I was able to help some of my siblings. I remember one of my sisters used to have dental issues, and things were very bad here those days, the days of Amin. I was able to help my sister come and get some dental in Nairobi as a student, because of just controlling my money, the discipline which I had already got from home, to learn to live with the little and to learn to maximize the little that you have. And so from there, of course, I graduated and I worked in Nairobi. The rest is history. I've never gone back to my late father, or whatever, to, if I go to anybody, it is a loan. You are lending me and I give it back. But not, help.
Stephen, today the young people, once they make money, the next thing they are thinking of is to drive a Subaru, is to drive a Mercedes-Benz. What message would you have for the young men out there to sort of pick some values from you, to start to know that I can start to fend for myself as an individual, not on my parents? What message would you have for them?
I tell those young men that there is time for everything. Rome was not built on one day. And you've just graduated, you want to buy 30 years, you have a house, you have a what, that you are driving. That is not realistic. I tell them it takes time to stabilize financially. It takes time. And you don't need all these lavish things. They are not necessary. What we did, was, as we were beginning to work, we got about 3 or 4 of us. We were all bachelors. Let's all go in one house. So we rented one house. And imagine, we had nothing. In fact, the first landlord in Nairobi, he was the one living in his house. So he was removing his things for us to come in. And so we were telling him we are ready to come. So he was like, where are your things? Where are your things? All we had were our suitcases and I think a saucepan or two. We had no chairs, we had no bed. So the man pitied us and left his couch. He said, okay, you bachelors, yeah, you start with this couch. So we had the landlord's couch and we started sleeping on the floor. No curtains, by the way. Yeah, no curtains either. You would just get maybe a sheet is what you put there. So I mean, that's how you start life. That's how you start life. Yeah. You don't have to start in a big mansion and what have you. You start as long as you're not disturbing anybody. You are not a nuisance, borrowing money around or begging. You're not begging, but you're running your own affairs. You're putting food on the table. That is okay. That is okay. And the other thing I also tell young people, because many of them want, before they marry, first I want to put up a house, I want to buy this, I want to buy that. I tell them, as long as you can put food on the table, you have a roof over your head, and you have somebody you feel is your life, can be your life partner, go ahead and marry. You will make the money together. You will build the things together. You will buy the plots together. Because when you are two, there's a lot of synergy. A lot of synergy. When a husband and wife put their heads together and work as in unity and in harmony, there's nothing that can be impossible to them. They will handle anything. They'll be able to handle anything. So that's what I would tell young people. And I'll tell them this, that for me, it took me 28 years to enter my own house. 28 years. I was renting. My younger brothers had houses. My younger sisters had houses. And imagine I'm the heir. I'm the heir. And people in my clan would say, that's Stephen Anga. You just see him there. He has no house. He has no house. But you see, for me, as the values I was talking about earlier, I knew that having a house is not what defines a person. That's not the content of my character, and who I am is what really counts. So it took us 28 years. Now, when eventually we got the house, what's the big deal? What's the big deal? Now we have a house. So what? It doesn't add anything to you. It doesn't add anything to you. Whether you have a house, whether you don't have a house, there are great people who changed history. They never had houses. Yeah. So, as a young person, you need to know that time, everything has its time. And don't be rushed. And by the way, there's somebody who told me, after we got our house eventually after 28 years, he told me, Stephen, you have proved that it is not worth bending your values because of external pressure. Because I was under pressure from friends, from family, from where, everywhere, as you can imagine. But we knew what we were doing. We knew what our priorities were. And I was an honest man. I was in the boards where I could have stolen money and built. I could have. Easily. Stolen money and built. But I decided I don't want to go that way. Until we were ready to be able to afford the house, that's when we did it. And so, there's a right time for everything. Me now, I can go and sleep like a child. Nobody's waiting for me that I stole their money or whatever. I can, So, that peace is there when you follow values. And so, don't bend your values because of money or because of what you don't have. Keep as a young man, be a man of character. That's what you need, a man of character. Because as you're a man of character, that's when you'll be able to have a stable home. Okay? You'll also be able to, a stable parent who will be able to help children to turn out right. Because children are looking at your character, and if your character is fake or is not proper, then even if the children they are going to have are going to follow a bad example.
Thank you very much. I think the message comes out clearly. I like the fact that you tell the young people out there to find their partner and they start the journey of marriage together as they work together. And I think it's a message out to the ladies who always wait for the young men to make a lot of money for them to accept. I think it's important you start the journey together. The moment you have done with the campus, you start on a journey. I want to go to Ruth. Ruth, I know that in our conversation you started a family way early when you had just finished your degree. I wanted to find out in terms of the challenges. Did you face any financial challenges at the time, and how did you overcome? Because sometimes it's nice to share true life experiences as a young family, because I'm aware that you are pursuing your degree, but you also, after your degree, you got a diploma as well. But also through that, you're also able to start a family as early as that. Please share, did you have any challenges at the time as a mother, as a young couple? And how did you overcome them? Because sometimes it's nice to tell a story through that.
We were two and we were working together, sharing the challenges. So we got on little by little. I remembered we started with a bed, then we worked and got what to use the utensils in the house. Then we bought chairs together. Then we bought land together. Life was being built slowly, and then one child came. We could manage, although I was a student, but I wouldn't advise the girls to marry at the university as I did at my time. These days are really challenging. You first finish your course and then go into family. So I had to divide my time to the family, to the children, to the family friends and so on, and then to the books. But because we were two and we were working as a team, we managed. But I wanted to say that parents, we need to teach these children to look ahead. To look ahead. There is life after high school. There is life after that job. Why are you rushing to use all the money on a Subaru? Then after that, there is life even after that paid job, that when you are retired. Then what? So start planning and don't be excited. But invest and build up your resources, build up the money, and you will enjoy better. Let them teach the children to look ahead. There are very many things which are to be done, which are still ahead, and you have to plan to get there slowly. It's not a matter of rushing. Then there is the idea of relationship we talked about. People may rush to buy Subarus and so on. What about the parents? He might be in a house with a leaking roof. Surely the parents sacrificed for you. Remember, I had lost my husband, but the education of my children became a project. I put all the money in the education. I might have failed to build a house, and then a child becomes more prosperous and forgets about me. It would not be fair. It would not. At least you first get your mother a house, or I would undergo not buying great shoes and so on, but ensure that the children went to school. So after school, after you are a bit more, you've started earning and you are a bit prosperous, look back to these relationships which last. Your mother will always be your mother. Your father will always be your father. Your sister, who was not as fortunate as you. I talked about teaching children to love other people and care for them. Surely there are things you could do in your community. It's not all about you. As we raise children, it's not all about themselves only. There are other people, even the community.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Stephen and Ruth. I want to jump into online comments and questions, and of course, I'll allow either Ruth or Stephen to comment on either of the questions that I'll share. I'll start with one that has been posted by a parent, and the parent says that children know more about reproductive health and its challenges and nothing about money. I'm going to repeat that children know more about reproductive health and its challenges and nothing about money. How do we change the narrative to make sure that homes now know more about money than reproductive health? Stephen, you want to?
Yes. That is a very serious concern, and I'm glad that there's a parent who has noticed that. You see, this reproductive health is being promoted by an agenda. There are people who have an agenda to sexualize our children. Yes. And they use all kinds of gimmicks to just fathers. Oh, you see, children are getting pregnant. Oh, yes, you know, diseases are coming. So they need this, they need the other. When you really look deeply at all this, it is just that there are people who are pushing an agenda, and that agenda is to get children sexualized, because that fits very well with their narrative. It fits very well with their agenda and their propaganda and what have you. So that's why the parent has to come in. The parent has to come in. You see, especially fathers. Fathers, one of our roles as fathers is we are the protectors of our families, our wives, our children, and our household. Okay? Everybody under us. As a father, you are like the watchman, both physically as well mentally, from social media, you know, what have you. Anything that is coming to injure or attack the family member in any way, as a father, it's your role. It's your role. And that's why, fathers, let us wake up to our responsibility as protectors, so that we can shield our children from all this filth that is being brought to them. But I recognize that is a problem, and you see, these people also taking advantage and of the fact that parents are kind of neglected. Yes, yeah, are neglecting the children. And actually, they're the same people who have engineered that. They've engineered the separation between children and parents. They want to remove. So this whole thing of giving children rights and all that, it's not in good faith. It's not in good faith. The idea is to separate children with the parents. Then the children will not be free for you to really take them wherever you want. So it's a big agenda, and not only in Uganda here, it's an international agenda, and as parents, we are the ones who have to fight that thing and protect our children.
Ruth, I cannot leave you without saying a comment when it gets to children, because I know that as a head teacher, you interact with so many students. The conversation of reproductive health versus money. How do we change the cycle to make sure that now our children can get to know more about money?
I think it will start with us parents, and then at a later time we shall request the government also. I think there is a lot of knowledge about reproductive health, but on financial literacy, almost nothing. I'm happy NSSF is coming out to educate people. So now that we have seen the importance of financial literacy, let the parent get the knowledge and inculcate it in the children right from nursery, right from the moment they are able to understand what is going on around them, and then they raise them knowing about income, knowing about expenditure, knowing about these challenges and how to handle money and so on. So let the parent teach both, and not let the other area be dominant. You need the financial literacy. In fact, you can't separate it from these other aspects of life. So it's the parents who are to do the work of financial literacy, so that it can come up above the other.
Thank you very much. Ruth, you have a question here that how did you prioritize and manage your family finances when you were a young parent? How did you manage to prioritize your family finances when you were a young parent?
There are lots of things I've not told you about me, but you heard I grew up in the church. I'm a God-believing person. And I always seek his counsel and wisdom. I wouldn't say I learned it from books or somebody told me, but somehow I got to know. And I had my ambitions. I told you I wanted a colorful life. I wanted to chill out. I wanted to travel. But when I started a family, I realized you have to sacrifice. And I was alone. So I had to channel my resources to make sure that education of my children was priority. The children grew, and then thereafter I could start inviting color in my life. But I think God helped me along, really. In fact, on this point, I would encourage the parents to make sure they bringing God and the relationship with Him. If a life is God-centered, you can't go wrong. You'll always land on the right decision.
Thank you very much. Quickly, because we're running out of time, Mr. Langa, the question here is that are there any financial decisions you would have done differently as a parent? You feel like now I have grown up, I think this particular financial decision I would not have taken. So do you have any financial decision or approaches that you would have done differently as a young parent when you look back today?
It doesn't come off immediately, but I'm glad that we followed the path that we took, because for us we gave priority to, first of all, raising our children and giving them quality education. To us, that was more than a house, or it was a bigger priority than a house. And so we did that. And that's where a lot of our resources went. Yes. And also the other thing that we did is, my wife is a graduate in economics. She's an economist, Boston University. So she came back and then we got married. But while our children were still very little, she stayed home. She stayed home. And that was a deliberate thing which we decided. Because we decided that right before we got married, we said once we have children, as long as they're still little, my wife would stay home. And we were criticized. People are like, oh, that education. And my wife would tell them, why is it that my children are the ones who are not looked after by a graduate mother? Why not? Yes, why not? And so my wife looked after our children. When people see our children today, they say, you are lucky. And my wife tells them, luck has nothing to do with it. Luck has nothing to do with it, yeah. We paid the price. We gave the priority at that time. And we gave our children the best that we could. Now they are adults. They give us so much pride, so much pride. And my wife, by the way, for ladies, who may think that if you stay home, it will remain there. No. My wife tells them that life has seasons. For women, there's a season to bear children. There's a season to raise them. There's a season to go to the corporate world and win the world. My wife tells her friends, that before, when she was staying at home, she would love to travel. Would she ever travel and things like that? Later, my wife got a job, which, she was the HR executive for an organization that had branches in 6 countries. She traveled, and I remember one of her friends told her that for you, God has given you the kind of job which we women just dream about, to make a point, because you sacrificed when the children were little, and now you are everywhere. So my wife just retired about 5 years ago, but that's what we did, and that's the line we took, and we don't regret taking that line.
Stephen, thank you. You mentioned that when your wife came back, you mentioned that she stayed home to take care of your children.
Yes.
Today we have young parents who have work pressures, standard of living, and day in, day out they have to be in offices to make sure they fend their homes. What message do you have for parents, and specifically the men out there? Because on many occasions you find that the women will stay home to take care of the children once in a while. But what message would you have? And is it a comprehensive role that all parents should devote time to specifically handle their children, as opposed to just living with them with nannies and house helps?
I think parents are intelligent. For me, what I do is I give you the facts and I give you the information. Then you take that information to your drawing board and make your life, out of that. I would say that in life, there are 3 non-negotiable priorities. Number 1, your relationship with your maker. Number 2, for those of us who are married, your relationship with your spouse. Your spouse is next to your God, not children. I know that people say, for me, my children are more important to me than my wife or my husband. No, that's wrong.
Yes.
Then thirdly, your children. Now, within here, your job is not yet there. Okay, now if you had to add your job, your mother, whatever, you can. But these first three are non-negotiable. You must prioritize those so that any job you take, any decision you make, you should make them while you are cognizant of what are you doing to these three relationships. Now, here's the issue. My wife tells them, and we're even talking to some parents this morning, that these children grow. I mean, my wife stayed, because we had 2 children, she stayed home for just 5 years. 5 short years. And you give that child enough foundation. To show you how serious the issues of foundation is, studies show that by the time a child is 3 years, you have given or failed to give 50% of all the values that that child will ever have. 50%. From there, you are struggling with the school, you're struggling with the neighbors to influence the other 50%. But you have this slate or this computer for you to program from the time a child is born to 3 years, which you should utilize very much as a parent so that you program that child to be what you want them to be. Now, other governments have realized that, for example, in Germany, right now, between the time a child is born and the time a child is 8 years, either the father or the mother is allowed to take 3 years of paid leave to look after the child, because they know how foundational those years are. You see, because they've come to realize that if we don't tackle this, there are certain things that are going to be, there's a certain damage which may not be repairable. And later now you're going to be dealing with a criminal. Then they weigh the amount of money to pay these 3 years of, this parent here, and the amount of crime that person is going to, it is cheaper to pay these 3 years here. Yeah. So that's why I encourage parents, and especially fathers. And for us in Africa here, it's as though, parent is just given to women, and so on. Fathers, I want to tell you out there, father, you have a big, big role on your daughter and on your son. Children need you as fathers. Yes, mothers are there, and we thank God for them, and they are always available. But as a father, you make a big difference. A big difference. And so I encourage you as fathers out there, fellow men, please go back and look after your children. Participate in looking after them. Talk with them. Play with them. Take them to your office. Let them see what dad is doing, and other. All those are good ways of building relationship with children. Wash the cars together. Go to the farm together. Go to whatever. All those are great times. And when you do that, when you do that with the children, that will take them for 3 months. Oh, I went out with daddy. Oh, I went out, we spoke. Daddy took me for tea. Daddy took me. That will give your children great boost. So please do it.
Participate. Participate and participate. Ruth, I want to come to you. The role of the mother. The role of the mother in trying to inculcate values of money, and how should mothers ensure that fathers are part and parcel of this conversation? I wanted to make sure that I come to you on that matter, because we talked about work pressures. And as we talk about work pressures, remember that lately you'll find that young mothers will probably breastfeed for about 2-3 months, and then before they go into bottles, and so that means they have limited time. How should mothers, or what advice do you have for mothers out there to make sure that they spend more time with their children as they continue to grow? Because as they continue to spend time, they continue to share the values, and the values that speak to the money and growing better. I wanted to make sure that I have a motherly input on that as well.
A child has a lot of time with the mother, as you rightly stated it, right from the breast time. The mother is with the child as they grow. Even these days, I see it's mothers mainly even dropping children at school. So use all that time with the child to teach financial literacy. Use it. And we have seen how important children are. They are your seed. They are your inheritance. They will give meaning to your life. What did you put into them? So the mother use all the opportunity you have. But I wouldn't let the men scot free. While both of you are struggling to make ends meet, when the lady goes, let the gentleman stay at home with the children. And then when she's back home, then the man can also get on with the work. So you have to work as a team. But the mother take up the role. It's important, the role. You teach the language, you teach all the habits, you teach the values, you teach everything, even how to dress, even how to feed and do everything. So mothers, take up your role to teach the children on how to spend money, even earn it.
Thank you very much, Ruth. Viewers, as we continue to get to the conclusion of the money conversation, Ruth, you'll appreciate that today, the children of today are different from the children of then. In our time, it was very, very difficult to talk back at your parents, because before you know it, the sandal will hit you. Today, it is a totally different conversation. When you look at the children and how they've been raised, they have speaking rights, they have an agenda to make sure that they stand up and speak for themselves. And sometimes they end up being argumentative. I wanted the perspective of you and Langa here to share with us, how do we get the money conversation in there to the students or to the children, as we continue to make sure that as much as they are speaking, they also understand the money discussion easily without being very argumentative. Because as we continue to tell them to save, they will ask us, for you, what have you done? Why are you saving? What have you done? But daddy, you do this. How do we make sure that through the journey, we make them understand that the key role here is to save, invest, and see how to plow back into your business? I could probably start with Stephen here, and then I'll end up with Ruth there.
There's a saying. There's a saying that in the right key, you can say anything, but in the wrong key, you can't say anything. And that comes from, we all have done a bit of music, and you know that when two people or three are singing, if they're in the same key, there's harmony and everything moves on well. But if they're in the wrong key, it sounds very awkward. Even to your ear, you feel like it's not right. So what that means in terms of what you're talking about here is that you need to know how to get along with your children and how to be able to communicate with them. When you get that right, and that's getting the right key, then you can talk anything. You can talk money, you can talk reproductive health issues, you can talk future, anything. The key thing is to be in the right key, and
the
that
right
means
key.
that, the right key. Then there you'll be able to do it. But if you're not in the right key, even if you have the best ideas, you will not be able to pass them across, and your parenting will fail.
Thank you very much.
I talked of modeling out life. Move with the child. Let him see what you're doing. And all along you are talking. All along you are talking. All along you are communicating. The child is learning from you. And let me tell you, the children of these days are very brilliant. A lot has been exposed to them. A lot of information. They can research, they can read, and that should give the parents an opportunity to discuss money matters all the time. As you move together, as my friend said, to the market, to that entertainment hall, to the garden, everywhere you are together, you are discussing. So don't withhold this valuable information. And to whom much has been given, a lot is required. With all these computers around, teach your children, let them research and learn about money matters, and be able to tell you what they've learned. And they are free to ask questions, they are free to give you their side of it. Really, we can do a lot with our children these days.
Thank you very much. As we finalize, in the beginning, Anne shared a statistic that said that only 5% achieve financial independence after retirement. That is a very huge statistic. And the reason as to why NSSF continues to drive these campaigns on financial literacy is to make sure that we have a statistic that grows beyond at least 80%, to make sure that individuals are financially independent. That means that somewhere, somehow, people do not manage their money well. But Stephen and Ruth, you'll appreciate with me that the conversation of how to handle money will end up in retirement. We want to make sure we manage money well so that by the time we retire, we are financially independent. Ruth, now that you're retired, you want to share a story. What is it that you did right? What is it that you could have improved? What message do you have for young people there? When should they plan for retirement? And also come to Stephen to share his story. Get to the parting shots.
One thing that helped me a lot was a realization that life was not going to remain static, that there is life after a season. There is life. So I planned for that life. As I worked, I would save. I would invest in animals. I would put them there one at a time. So when I came to retirement, it became a fallback. By the time I came, those 2-3 cows I had put there had even produced. And as I worked, I kept saving and buying land. And so that land is able to sustain these animals. And also, I knew there would be time when I would not be earning from the government. So I built some houses in Kampala, and they are earning me money. I'm deep in the village, but I'm receiving some money. So it's that planning ahead, a realization that life goes on even after you have retired. Life goes on.
Thank you very much, Stephen.
Yes, we also realized the same thing, and we saved, and we are now actually living off our savings. And beyond that, we are doing something which we love. The work that we do, building families, parenting, talking to young people, and all this, is something that we love doing. And it is something that we can do with or without money. And we found out that it is actually helping us well into our retirement. I mean, we are all of retirement age. As I said, my wife was the last one to work, which is 5 years ago. But we are busier now than we were even busy then, because of the nature of the work that we are doing. And from there, we earn a little. I mean, we'll give talks, they give you fuel and things like that. So it's keeping us, plus our savings, and we are really happy with our retirement, and we are moving on very well.
Thank you very much, Stephen. I am going to get back to you, Stephen and Ruth, to give me your parting shots before we close our conversation on Parenting Chronicles. And thank you very much. But before I do that, I want to share a message to the public listening out there that when we talk about money, money has a lot of components in there. It has personal financial management, it has savings, it has loans, it has investment, it has insurance, it has retirement. And all these are components and information you can pick from NSSF, you can pick from Bank of Uganda. So it's very, very important that you as an individual, because you can't teach a child that you don't know. So it's important that as parents also get information, and as they equip themselves with this information, then they will equip the children with the information. I thought that would be my ending remark, and I wanted to come to Ruth, and then I'll probably end with Stephen in terms of parting shots. What message do you have for parents out there, and especially the money conversation? What key message do you want to leave with them as we conclude our webinar this afternoon?
Thank you very much. I would advise the parents to inculcate values in the children, so that as the children have love, have integrity, have honesty, have the hard work, have the good stewardship, really they cannot go wrong. And let's model out lives. Let your child see what you are talking about. As you save, you explain with the children. You explain to the children, and then they see you enjoying the fruits of your saving. Let them see as you talk. Let them see the talk, and then all will be fine. But above all, have God as center of your life, because from Him you draw the wisdom. to help you make the rightful decisions. You cannot use all the money which you earned all your years and you use it in a night or in 1 month. You should surely have the wisdom to know you should invest it like this or the other. And then talk to other experts. Let them advise. Me, I really would like to hail NSSF for this move to go out and teach people. So when we are taught, let us learn and go to teach others, especially the children right from home, so that they learn to make money and they learn to manage it well to have successful lives.
Thank you very much, Ruth and Stephen.
Yes, for me, I just want to say that it is said that the key to being a better parent, the key to being a better spouse, the key to being a better person is to be a more godly person. There's a way in which it gives you the characteristics that are necessary to really parent your children well, whether it is in finances, whether it is in life. It just helps a lot to do that. Having said that, I want to call upon fellow men out there, husbands, men. Your home needs you. Your wife needs you. Your children need you. Your household need you. I know we are out there busy, but you know what? You are really needed at home. I want to call on fellow men to come back home and play your role as responsible and involved parents and also as an involved husband. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, our viewers. I hope you've enjoyed the conversation on money. And as we conclude our discussion, we are saying that the money conversation seems to be lacking in our homes, and it's very, very, very important that this money conversation is extended to our children beyond just the piggy banks, to making sure, as Ruth said, to making sure that they understand the value chain, that money has to be invested and we pick the profits and pick some loans somewhere and use some bit of insurance. And it's very, very important that parents out there, you understand these concepts of money so that you can be able to send them to your children. We don't want to take it beyond this. We'd like to thank you very much, our viewers. And as we finalize, we'd want now to take you back to Aisha to close the webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ibra, and the panel. You've been such a great panel, and the discussion has driven a lot of conversations. While we're at the back end team, we've been engaging with our customers on the different platforms where they've been plugged in, and the feedback is great. My name is Aisha Nakanwaji. I'm a financial advisor at NSSF, part of the team that ensures that our members get these conversations about money. I'm very passionate about socioeconomic transformation, and I'm happy to be part of a team that is steering such conversations for our members and the nation at large. Yeah. As I bring this conversation home, I would like to start with a quote that I picked up from our TV presenter from the BBC, where she's called Sue Atkins. She says, "There's no such a thing as a perfect parent. So just be a real one." And like the audience, you've already seen, we had real parents here. They might not be the perfect parents, but I think in parenthood, what it calls for is to be real. The lessons learned, and to summarize what has just been shared majorly, has been on two key things where everything falls within those two aspects. The first one was accountability. Accountability was one of the very, very key things that were shared here. The panel discussed under this aspect, the aspect of good stewardship and custodianship, where the parents are supposed to be the drivers in their homes. Delegation might work for certain things in the family, but not for everything. On the custodianship part is where we bring accountability, where the children should be good custodians for even the small little things they have, like toys, and also the aspect of consequences. I saw Stephen was really, really big on consequences. The children need to learn this as well. Yeah. The other second aspect was on communication. Teach the children the value of money. And the value of money has just three aspects: the earning, keeping, and growing the money. Yeah, so most of them know how to get the money, the pocket money, but how do they keep it and how do they even grow it? Yeah, so there was also a need for connection and communication. There's nothing you're going to tell a child to do when you don't have a connection with him. And Stephen, you are also big on connection and communication and mutual respect. Yeah, and as I bring this conversation home, still, on behalf of NSSF, we want to thank the audience, the panel, Ruth, Stephen, and Ibra, for steering the conversation. We are closing out the financial year today at NSSF, and everyone has been busy closing out in each department. We want to thank our members for continuing to trust in the brand and saving with NSSF. We are closing out our financial year today in preparation and anticipation of a new year starting tomorrow, 1st of July. Yeah, and thank you so much, Pano. I close out still with the thought when I was trying to listen in and trying to engage with the audience back end. I realized that the parents shared their role, and I was thinking, now what's the role of the children in all this? Yeah, and there is no better place to get answers. I am a Muslim, so I turned to the Quran, and in Islam, the Quran says that the best of deeds, yeah, the best of deeds according to the Quran is observance of prayer at its proper time. That is one. And guess what the second thing is? Kindness to parents. So as the parents are sacrificing, as they are putting along all these values for us, as most of us are parents and also we are children, the Quran says that kindness to parents is one of the, after prayer, it's the second deed. So my message out there to the audience, I know there are audience that has parents and also children. Please let's take note of this. And thank you so much for being a great audience. We are closing out now. We continue to engage on the different channels of NSSF. I wish you a very good afternoon. Thank you.